Yo, what is going on, guys? Hutcher322 here, and I'm your coach of the Portland Timbers in the All-Star Showdown League. Today I have for you guys a well overdue video. Today I have for you guys the ASL Season 4 review of my team, the Portland Timbers, team that I coached. And yeah, so basically in this video we're going to go over our season, how it went, thoughts, like Mon's overviews, stats, and yeah, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So starting out, we're gonna talk about our regular season. And oops, let me move this over a little bit. There we go. Okay, so basically, our regular season, as you can see, it's gonna show all of our opponents and stuff like that. So we finished the regular season with the audio hasn't been recording this entire time. There we go. Well, the music wasn't, but so basically, at the beginning of the season. We did finish 9-4 with plus 19, giving us the 4 seed. But at the beginning of the season, we started off with a nice victory. Feeling pretty good about it. And then we hit a very, very poor streak. Lost 3 games in a row. And I remember after losing to Anderson just thinking, wow, I went from runner-up to now probably I'd be lucky to make the playoffs. And after that, we made some big changes with the team. That was when we made all our transactions. We dropped Cresselia, we dropped Skuntank, we traded Dust Noir, and we got Crobat for Cresselia, we got Alolan Trio for Skuntank, and we got Dust Clops for Dust Noir. And they were so important in so many ways. Because as you can see, after making those moves, we went 8-1. That's fantastic. We only lost to Linoon sweeping us. Props to Malone for that. But yeah, we only lost 1 game after dropping that. Well, if you want to count the championship, we lost that too. But yeah, it's just a huge streak in there, and it's not like last season where I had like 3 1-0s in a row. No, there's some meaty wins in there. A nice 4-0, 5-0, a 3-0. 5-0, 3-0, 3-0. So big wins, and our only loss of that streak was pretty minimum. It was only a 1-0. So yeah, overall good season. To start out 1-3 and finish 9-4 is honestly something going into week 5 I truly didn't expect, and it paid dividends to play all my tougher opponents first, because then I can like work out the kinks in my teams, and then play some of the easier schedule down the road, because we played TG, Keister, Anderson, and Excellent Name in the first 4 weeks. Now, 3 of those were playoff teams. Actually, yeah, 3. Because the BC Bibrills turned into the Zgrebzengus, which is the 7th seed. So I played the 1 and 2 seed, which was, yeah, it was ridiculous. And let's go over like thoughts of like each match if I can remember stuff. So TG, I remember Thunderous just putting in the work against the Mew, hitting a nice black hole eclipse. Keister, I remember it coming down to Cresselia. Cresselia trying to take on the world. Didn't work out too well. Ian, it came down to Hawlucha just destroying me. Ferrothorn and Hydreigon just not putting in the work that it needed to. And then Anderson just absolutely destroying me. I just could not beat through him. And that was the week where I was like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and try out Slowking and specifically put Cress on the bench to see if I can go without Cress. And after that, we played against Cam. Hydreigon put in absolute work. We played Shadow, where Megalopony really shined and got like 5 kills or something stupid like that. And then the next game, Thunderous got a big sweep against Static. So our 3 offensive mons doing work. And then the match against TCP, oh my god, I remember Oko and the Victini turn 1. I was so happy. And yeah, playing that end game pretty nicely. TJ, oh, I should have been 6-0 in that game. He brought a nice Cosmic Power Jirachi. Thunders came through when it mattered. And Malone, yeah, I already talked about it. Linoon, we got swept. I didn't preserve my Ferrothorn. That is 100% my fault. Against Ian, Lowlander Trio was the one that put in the work. Got a nice like 3-kill sweep at the end or something like that. Might have been 3. Not 100% sure. And then against Susie, Susie, we destroyed him with a Alolan Trio at the end because he was talking crap all season about a Alolan Trio, and then I had to bring it, and then it put in absolute work against him. So that was good to see. And then against Cody, we brought the meme squad. Amazing, amazing sets. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop into the postseason. So we had a nice 6-0 against Cody, of course. Comfey just absolutely dismantled his team. Calm Mind Comfey getting the nice dub. Against EN, good 2-0. I like it. That was a close game, and it was just learning from my mistakes in the last game and leaving it to Scarf Alolan Trio to get rid of that Kartana. And then, of course, losing to TCP, that was the first game that I've ever experienced the Chrome bug issues. They've since had a patch for it, so you can fix it. And I just remember getting on tilt, making stupid plays around that Regice, and it was a good Regice set regardless, and it just put in work against me. So again, congrats TCP on the win, congrats, and I guess I'll hold that second place trophy for the second year in a row. We'll win it next time, third time's a charm, mark my words. So we're 2-1 with a +5 in the playoffs, not bad, not bad. So let's go ahead and hop into my Mons stats. First up, with the number 1 pick, we selected Mega Lopunny, and oh yes, it paid off. Nicknamed Cinnabunny. So the stats are from playoffs as well. So if they look a little bit different as they would on the dock, that's why. So over the season, Mega Lopunny definitely living up to be a number 1 pick. 15-4, +11. It was brought to 13 out of 16 games because I played a total of 16 games. And it was a winner in 9 of those games, so not as much as I would have liked it to win, but yeah. And it was also nominated for Best Overall, also known as MVP. So Mega Lopunny got 15 kills, and this thing was such a monster. I remember, God, it was in ASL Season 3. It was like the tail end of ASL Season 3. I was like, I'm drafting Mega Lopunny in Season 4. I really want to use this thing. I've used it before in ASL Season 1 off-season, and I was like, I gotta try this thing in regular season. Oh my god, this Mon is the truth. It's kind of a one-click Mon if you make it a one-click Mon. It's one of those Mons where it's like, if you want it to be one-dimensional, sure, it can be one-dimensional and put in work. Oh, sorry, my phone just went off. But if you want to, mix things up, and here, let me silence my phone. If you want to mix things up and throw some stuff on there that's unconventional, it works. I've run Heal Bell Mega Lopunny before. It works. It's a very, very good Mon, and it's not given as much credit for how versatile it actually is. And I would 100% consider drafting this thing again. It fits on so many different teams, and it was a fantastic first round pick. Absolutely loved Mega Lopunny. I have no complaints about this Mon. So going into our next Mon, we have Hydreigon, our Renegade, our second overall pick. And this thing, like Mega Lopunny, put in so much work. It's honestly surprising to me that it only won 5 games. It's really surprising. It was brought to 10 out of 16 games, so it was brought to a lot of them. It was 15-6, which its impact was definitely felt. It was the nomination for Best Offensive Mon, my second pick. And yeah, it's honestly surprising that it only won half the games it was brought to. But still, 15 kills is fantastic. 15 kills between our top 2 picks, or 30 kills between the two, and I'll talk about the amount of kills between our first 3 picks once we get to Thundurus. But yeah, Hydreigon, I have no complaints about this Mon. I mean, when you look at the stats, its base 98 speed is a little annoying, if anything. And you're like, oh, why can't it be base 100? Honestly, it doesn't really matter most of the times. I remember prepping, and I never really ran into the issue. It was like, oh, I wish it was base 100. You just work around it. I mean, Defensive Hydreigon is a very usable set, and if I had played better in the championship, it would have won me that game. It's just, Hydreigon is fantastic. If you can't outspeed things, fine, just run the defensive set. Defensive Roost Hydreigon is great. It's got amazing stats, and it's so versatile. I didn't even get to use the physical set, which is doable. You can run the physical set with Outrage Crunch. I just never got around to using it. The matchup never really was good, but just paired with Megalopody, this thing is just an absolute beast. And I would consider drafting it again. Most of these mons I would draft again. Hydreigon is definitely there. It just fits on so many teams and fits so many roles. And yeah, absolutely fantastic. Then our next mon, we have Thundurus, our ACDC. So I remember coming out of the 3rd pick in the draft, and I was feeling good about my offensive core. And my offensive core combined had 41 kills, which is tremendous. That's like killing 7 teams almost, just with my offensive mons. And I use, if you guys have been around on the channel, you know that I got Hippowdon 11 kills last season. I had the same kill death ratio with Hippowdon as I do with Thundurus last season. So I use my walls extensively, but Thundurus was 11 and 10, so only a +1 differential. I brought it to 14 games, which makes it the most, the mon with the most games played on my team. It won 9 of those games, and it was not nominated for any awards. Thundurus was kind of a weird mon this season. It had stints of like excellence. It was fantastic in a couple of games, and there were some games where I just sacked it off and it just died. But I mean, its stats aren't the worst. It's got a positive differential, and it's 11 and 10, so it did put in some work. And I don't know, it was just a weird mon. I think I would draft it again because I didn't do terrible with it. I think I just need to get it on a better team that like better supports Thundurus and allows Thundurus to be that main wall breaker, because I was mainly using Hydreigon and Megalopony as my wall breakers, and Thundurus wasn't really getting the chance to shine because I'd be sitting in the match and I'd be like, okay, Megalopony Hydreigon wins me the game, I'll just sack up Thundurus and get into something else. But yeah, it's not bad. It's definitely a fantastic mon. I just don't think it fit on this team as much as I was hoping it did, but it did put in the work when it needed to. Like, it had that big game against Static, a really good week 1 performance, and I'm sure it put on a lot of pressure for people when they were team building. So yeah, Thundurus is a little bit of a weird mon, but overall, I liked it, and I would draft it again. So then, our next mon, we have Crobat Fatbat. And this was a free agent pickup. We dropped Cresselia and picked up Crobat. This is honestly the unsung hero of our team, because we got rid of Cresselia and picked up Crobat. Crobat went 4-4 in 8 games played, winning 6 of those games, and Crobat was amazing for me. Amazing. I remember coming out of the draft, I had 1 hazard remover in Skuntank. Oh, and I also had Hydreigon, but I mean, it's Hydreigon. Whoops. I'm trying to look and see if I have like any other hazard removal. Can I click back up? Thank you. Okay. I had 1 hazard removal, which was Skuntank, and just getting Crobat, dropping Cresselia, it really helped out my team. Crobat fit my team so fantastically, and yeah, 4-4 is pretty good for a Crobat, to be honest, because Crobat had just a supporting role on the team. So definitely not mad. It's one of the best, in my opinion, it is the best defensive poison type that isn't called Mega Venusaur, because it's a mon that is so fast that you can roost on almost anything. Plus, you can defog, you can U-turn on out of there. Plus, it's got decent bulk stats. I mean, that's why I call it Fatbat. But yeah, it was the unsung hero of my season, and it just allowed me to have so much more versatility when building, and I didn't have to like pick between Crest or Slowking. It's like, boom, one of these automatically isn't coming. So yeah, Crobat was fantastic. And then our next mon, if it'll let me, bear with me. Chrome has been so slow. Alright, there we go. So our next mon, our 5th overall pick, we have Ferrothorn, Free Hugs, 9 and 10 with a -1. Like I say, I use my walls a ton. We got 9 kills with Ferrothorn. It basically has the same game stats as Megalopony. I brought it to 13 games. It won 9 of those. No awards, but it's alright. Ferrothorn was an amazing mon, and besides Hippowdon, might be my favorite wall of all time. Now, most people try and like stay away from Ferrothorn because they're like, oh, it's got a 4 times weakness to fire and it's weak to fighting. I'm like, okay, berries exist. I mean, I think every week, that I brought Ferrothorn, except for the week against Cody, because I brought a Custat Berry. I brought every single week. I either brought Tropical Berry or an Aqua Berry on this thing. It's fine. All you need to do is take one hit with Ferrothorn, and you can pivot around. You get nice Iron Barb damage, so you can stop U-turning as much. You set up rocks. You can set up spikes, leech seed. It's such a good mon, and on my team it was fantastic because combined with my next mon, which is Slowking, it pairs so fantastically synergistically. And yeah, Ferrothorn was so good. It gave me that hazard stacking option that I always love. Hazard stacking is one of the most deadly strategies in the game, and if you have access to it, it's hard for your opponent to deal with it. So yeah, it dying in 10 games, that doesn't surprise me at all. I mainly use Ferrothorn to take hits and chip stuff down, and then just let it die, and then let my offensive mons come in and just kill through everything. So yeah, Ferrothorn was an amazing pick. Would 100% draft it again. It doesn't need a lot of support, I will say that. You have to have a lot of good typing coverage, but if you can have that typing coverage, it's amazing. So with its partner in crime, whenever it loads up, we have Slowking, our first tier B pick, our 6th overall pick. We got Slowking, Levi's, 4 and 7. It's a -3 differential. It's not the most appealing kill death ratio, but it's not bad. I brought it to 12 games, and it won 10 of them, which I believe it won the most games on my roster. So, no awards for Slowking, but it's alright. That boy put in work. So, 4 and 7. It died in almost half of its games. And for a defensive mon, for like only dying in like half of its games, that's pretty good. And in a tier B value, it's such a good mon. It's getting moved up for next season. But yeah, Slowking just combined with Ferrothorn, it was so hard to take this duo down. And often weeks, like I remember at least 4 or 5 weeks where Slowking was like my dedicated wall for like 5 different things. This is a mon where you can lean on. It's got Regenerator, it's got Slack Off, so it has double reliable recovery. Because if you take a big hit that you weren't expecting to take, okay, just Regenerator on out of there, and you're not put on too much of a back foot. So yeah, Slowking is just so good, and it's got decent coverage where it needs it. I got to show off the belly drum set. It didn't get a kill, but it almost one-shotted a Gliscopod. It did a lot. So that was cool. I got to show off the Normalium Z. But yeah, decent coverage. It's just such a good mon. I've used both Slowbro and Slowking now. I used Slowbro in Season 1. I don't know if I can make a call on which is better. Like, I never really got to show off the Calm Mind Slowking set, so I guess Slowbro's better at that because I did sweep with a Calm Mind Slowbro in Season 1. But yeah, they're both fantastic, and Slowking I would 100% draft in the future. And for the next mon, we had a free agent pick where we went ahead and dropped Gligar literally minutes after the draft ended, and we picked up Piloswine, also known as Permafrost, 7 and 7 in 8 games. It won 5 of those. It was nominated for the best free agent pickup. And Piloswine, not a mon that I thought I would bring this much. We played 16 games. I brought it to half of them. And I remember for like the first portion of the season, I did this with Rotom Frost last season as well. Like through the first 6 games, I brought it to almost every single one of them. I did this to Rotom Frost too. I love my ice types. What can I say? And just 7 and 7. That's very, very good for a wall. And Piloswine got a couple clutch kills when it needed to. Like against setup Mega Deontay against TJ. It got big kills against Ian in the playoffs. And yeah, it's not that one-dimensional. I wish it got knockoff like Mamoswine, but it still does get like superpower, which is nice. A good rock setter, and paired with Ferrothorn with the Leech Seed support, it really helps us out. I don't know if I ever got Leech Seed into this thing, but it certainly helped my team with priority, giving me priority outside of like Fake Out from Megalopony and then Draining Kiss from Comfey. So Piloswine is a really underrated wall. It's starting to become more well known, but it's just such a good mon. So yeah. Then we have Flareon, Bonfire. Honestly, with the 8th pick, I am never drafting this thing again. It was brought to one game and it won one game. I brought it week 1, and to be fair, it lived a +2 Shattered Psyche from a Volcarona. I'll give it that. But I just never could find a week to bring it because it's too slow and it can't take enough physical attacks. It just can't. It's a good special wall, but there was never really any game that I can bring it. It's a good mon, don't get me wrong. Good Wish mon, and it can hit stupid hard, but I just feel like with so many prominent ground types in the format, you just cannot justify bringing this thing that many weeks. And I wish I would have gotten a different fire type. If I were to go back and do it again, I would have gotten Incineroar. But, you know, live and learn. I've used Flareon in the past, and I had great success with it, but this just was not the season for Flareon, but it's alright. Like I said previously, live and learn. But next we have Comfey, Princess Leia, 9th pick. 6-3 with a +3. It was brought to 4 games. It won 3 of them. What can I say about Comfey? If you take away the match against Cody, it was 0-3. But yeah, it came through big. I knew that Calm Mind Comfey was going to come out at least once in the season, and it came out, and it put in work, and gave me a nice 6-0 to start off the playoffs. Huge confidence booster against Cody. And yeah, this thing is pretty good. It's not as offensive as I would like it to be most times. Like, I had to either put Pixie Plate on there or invest in special attack for it to really do stuff, because it's a relatively passive mon. But if you can start setting up Calm Minds, or if you can invest like special attack into it, it starts hitting really hard. It's a good budget fairy. If you're a big advocate for like drafting good fairies, I wouldn't get Comfey, just because Comfey is like a supporting fairy, and it's good in lower tiers, but it's just not a higher pick. But yeah, it did put in work. I liked Comfey. I would consider drafting it in the future. I would have to depend on the team, though. There might have been better options, but like I said, came up big. So next mon, which we traded with Anderson for this mon. We went ahead and traded our Dusknoir for our Dusclops. So Postmortem was brought to 1 game. We only brought it to the meme game against Cody, and it was 1-1. It got a Shadow Sneak kill on a Delphox. So yeah, I really wish I could have integrated Dusclops a little bit more. I was considering bringing it against TCP a couple times just to stop the Victini, but there was no reason to. I had better options, and like I said, I wish I could integrate this thing more into more games, because it's a very bulky mon. I'm just so scared of it being too passive, which is why I prefer Dusknoir, because Dusknoir can hit hard. But this was the only way I was getting my next mon, which absolutely carried the team when it mattered most. So I'm not mad at how Postmortem played. He had a nice kill against Cody, and maybe I'll get it in the future. It'll depend. Having Comfey and Dusclops on the same team is a little nerve-wracking, I'm not going to lie. So maybe not do that in the future, but yeah. Then, for our next mon, like I said, this mon was like Crobat, the unsung hero that carried the team when it mattered most. We had a Lowland trio, Ed, and Eddie, the absolute GOAT. So 4-1 in 4 games played. It won all 4 of those games, and a Lowland trio was an absolute gem of a mon. And I will reference this every single time. You can go watch like the week 5 or the week 4 transactions. Susie was saying that this thing is trash. Look at those stats. It got at least 1 kill in every single game that it was brought to. It didn't, but That's what the stats would read. It got a huge HP fire kill against the Kartana, which sent us to the championship. It put in work against Ian, cleaning up the Weavile, and the Clefable, and maybe even Cobalion. I don't remember, if I'm being 100% honest. And it put in work against him. So, a low trio. If you guys think it's trash, well, let's just say your opinion isn't exactly accurate. This thing is very, very good. It is only 10 base speed lower than its normal form. So, instead of having base 120 speed, it has base 110 speed. Which, to be honest, is still pretty fast. It's still a good speed tier. And it just puts it into defense. So, you're not losing anything on attack. It needs a lot of support for touching things like Skarmory and just bulky mons that it can't hit super effectively, but it's a great typing, and if you can get it in the right circumstance, it can really just destroy teams. It's a fantastic Scarfer, good Sashmon, and yeah, I loved using a Lowlander trio. And if you guys think I won't draft this in the future, you are wrong. I will draft this thing in the future at some point, I guarantee. So, yeah, it might not be on the channel because it might be in a different league, but I will draft this thing for sure. It was an absolute, it's 3 backs must hurt from carrying the team. Let's just say that. And whenever this will go ahead and load in here, we'll go ahead and talk about our 12th Mon that was on the actual roster, and then after that we'll talk about what's it called? We'll talk about the Mons that were dropped / traded whenever Chrome wants to go ahead and work. There we go. So our 12th Mon, which was a free agent pickup, we dropped Wobbuffet in like week 4 or week 5. We picked up Archeops. Now Archeops was huge in the game against DCP. The only other game it was brought to was against Anderson, while it didn't really do anything. So it was 1-2 with a -1. 2 games played. One of them we won. The game against TCP. So yeah, this thing was huge against TCP. It OHKO'd a Victini turn 1. Exactly what I was hoping for. And then it switchered the Manaphy to prevent the Manaphy from repeatedly clicking rest and stalling me out. So it almost like secured victory for me there. Didn't have to deal with Victini, and then Manaphy couldn't like stall me. So this thing, its impact wasn't as felt as much as I would have hoped. Like against Anderson, it was just there to defog what Klefki could possibly do. So it was just really big against TCP, and I would have brought it in the championship, but I figured TCP was gonna predict that again, and I didn't want to get caught again. Well, caught doing a previous strategy. So yeah, Archeops, it was good in that one game. It's just I never really saw it have any more opportunities. So Chrome, you can go ahead and load, and we'll go to the next one. I wish there was like Showdown has the Chrome fix bug. Can I just get that as a setting in my Chrome? Cause we're not looking too good right now. We're not looking too good right now. And the Mons that have like 0 games played, I'm just gonna like talk about them for like 30 seconds then get going. Can we go to the next Mon? Whoa, just jolted by. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we have Gligar, Scorpio. He was going to be our 7th pick. We dropped him for Piloswine right after the draft. And Gligar looked really good when I drafted it. But when I drafted it, I was also doing like 47 different things at once. And I was like, oh, Piloswine is right there. Better Mon. Let's pick it up. And basically all that Gligar would provide is like a potential defogger, but I would be forced to run Hypercutter, which is not that great compared to Immunity. So yeah, I never really saw Gligar doing better than Piloswine. So yeah, and then Wobbuffet, Pop-Tart. I just drafted this thing because I was like, oh, it's the season of Shadow Tag. Let's go ahead and do it. And I was like, no, this thing is never gonna be brought. I don't even want to bring Cresselia anymore. I'm just gonna keep it with Slowking. And yeah, I just dropped this thing for Archeops. And here we go. Talking about Mons that we actually used. So we had Cresselia, Lunar Duck. It was our 4th pick. And Cresalia's got some decent stats in here. So he was nominated for best free agent pickup, the free agent pickup by Malone. But with Cresselia, when we had it, we went 4-2. We brought it to 3 games, and it won one of those games. It won the first game. It did really well in the first game. Got 2 kills. Against Keister, it got 2 kills, I think. And then it just got destroyed by Drapion against excellent name. So yeah, Cresselia. People think drafting Cresselia is a fantastic idea. I will give you that it's a good idea if you know how to use it. If you are good at playing with like stupid bulky mons that aren't exactly all that offensive, go for it. That's you. That's Malone. Basically, he drafts this thing every year, and he picked it up out of free agency. So I thought Cresselia was gonna be so much better. Cresselia Ferrothorn looks so good on paper, but it's too passive. And I used Slow King in that game against Anderson. And I was like, okay, this is so much better than using Cress. And yeah, just Cress is not the mon that I was hoping it to be. And I will never draft this thing in the future. There are just so much better psychic types. I would rather use Uxie, and I know Uxie has the same offensive stats, but Uxie can U-turn, so it's not like I'm forced to sit in there or I lose momentum. I can just click U-turn with Uxie and get on out of there. So if Cress had U-turn, I would consider using it, but it just doesn't. It just sits there, and if you don't use it correctly, you will find yourself in a position to get set up on. So I just don't like Cress for its passiveness. And next mon, we have Skuntank. We got Pete. It was our 11th pick, and having it 2 seasons in a row, I mean, once I got Crobat from the free agent transaction, I was like, there is no need for this. So we made a double trade with Anderson. We traded our Dusknoir and our Skuntank, and he traded me Dusclops and a Little Trio. So yeah, just with having Hydreigon and Crobat, with them also both being able to defog, there was literally no reason to keep Skuntank on the team. Stab Pursuit is the only thing that I can think of because Crobat does get Pursuit. It's not Stab though. But yeah, 2-2. It was brought to 2 games. It won one of them. I believe it was only brought to the first 2 games. I think. Yeah, that sounds about right. So yeah, it had good kill death, but once I got Crobat, there was no reason to get Skuntank. I don't know if I'll get this thing in the future. Like, it's got a decent speed stat. It's not passive. It's okay coverage. Like, Fire Blast is really nice. And Defog, it's just... I feel like now, there's just better removers that I should get. And yeah, I don't really hate Skuntank as a mon. It's just... I don't know. I don't think I would draft it again. And then last but not least, we have Mirage, our Dusknoir. It was brought to 1 game. In that game, it won. I just brought it against Cam, the Washington Wailords. I remember the only thing that Dusknoir did in the game was it prevented the Alolan, not the Alolan, just the normal Sandslash from spinning, which was pretty nice, I guess. Like, we just hazard stacked with our Ferrothorn, then I went hard Dusknoir and just prevented it from spinning. It's the only thing that I actually did with Dusknoir, and I would have loved to have it. I truly did not want to trade Dusknoir at all, because Anderson said the only way that I was going to get a Little Trio from him, like to force him to drop something to pick up a Little Trio, was if I give him Dusknoir for Dusclops. I would like Dusknoir much more, but the Little Trio just came to be too amazing of a mon. And yeah, I would have loved to use Dusknoir more, but it's alright. It can hit hard, be a bulky mon. Its only real hindrance is its very low HP stat. But yeah, Dusknoir, not a bad mon. So that is going to be the ASL Season 4 review for the Portland Timbers. Thank you guys all for watching. Like I said, it's overdue, but I don't know. I haven't really... I've been just trying to get videos out and just enjoy my nice relaxation of not having to do YouTube for the YouTube channel on ASL, and then when it starts back up, get right into it. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, which will likely be my March Madness open pool round 2 matches. So I'll see you guys then, and goodbye.